And before we get further into the video, you guys need to know that there is a limited time offer for my Patreon. $35 a month. You get extra content. You can get access to a 6-digit crypto portfolio, and you can see what I'm doing, what moves I'm making, what altcoins I'm buying, all that kind of stuff. And also you can join the exclusive VIP chat where I'm hanging out most of the day. You can get access to me there. If you guys like my content and you want something more, definitely join Patreon. It's a great option. The links are below. Click those links and sign up today. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about buying Bitcoin in the year 2021. Right now, the crypto market is getting a ton of attention. People are seeing that Bitcoin is hitting new all-time highs, and Ethereum is coming back to the $1,000 price level. So the question is, what kind of opportunity does the crypto market have right now, even for people that haven't bought yet? And to answer that question, we need to be looking at the long-term chart for Bitcoin, and we need to be looking at what Bitcoin normally does in a bull market, and we need to look at the average performance for Bitcoin in a bull market to see what kind of potential we may have going into the next year. And this is a long-term chart. This chart actually goes from 2013 to where we are now in 2021. And because of the way that Bitcoin was designed, we do see that Bitcoin generally repeats its cycles in a semi-similar fashion. What you'll notice is that the last two bull and bear markets have very similar structures. The price runs up thousands of percent. We find a bull market peak. The price corrects down about 85% to the downside, and then the market tends to wait for the halving to take place, and the halving is when miners receive half as many block rewards. The block rewards every 10 minutes get sliced in half, and this means that there's half as much Bitcoin entering the market, which means theoretically you have half as much selling pressure from miners, which does allow for more price appreciation, and that in of itself increases demand for Bitcoin as people realize that there's less supply and there's more potential price appreciation. So the halving takes place and Bitcoin runs up thousands of percent once again into 2017, hitting that $20,000 all-time high price. And then from that high to the next low, we have about 85% to the downside, a very similar bear market to the one we saw in 2014. And once again, the market waits for the halving to take place. And after the halving, we see that the price is able to appreciate much easier. And now, here in the year 2021, Bitcoin is trading above $30,000, a new all-time high. Now, the most important thing about this chart right now is actually realizing that from 2017 to the 2018 bear market low, Bitcoin's growth was actually only 160%. From previous all-time high at $1,200 to bear market low at $3,100, Bitcoin only went up 161%. That's it. That's the total growth Bitcoin saw from previous all-time high to bear market low. And if Bitcoin was going to repeat this type of action again, if the market structure was going to be anything similar to the past two bull and bear markets, this means that Bitcoin is still within the growth zone, meaning that Bitcoin may never see $30,000 ever again. And if you extrapolate the previous cycles, and if you consider what the stock to flow model is suggesting, which is what you're seeing on this chart here, Bitcoin may be headed for a price target of 250,000, and this could happen fast. This could happen within this year. Bitcoin could hit 250,000, in my opinion, within this year. And from that point, we may see another 85% to the downside. And that could send Bitcoin to roughly 50,000 US dollars. And remember, we just had the halving. Bitcoin is becoming more scarce. The inflation is decreasing. The amount of supply entering the market is decreasing. And we have an increase of demand from major corporations, and billionaires are actually starting to buy Bitcoin now. So I have no doubts that Bitcoin can see much higher prices from here. Again, I'm looking for a $250,000 upside target within the next year. And of course, the question that we've been asking is it still a good time to buy Bitcoin? Well, according to this model, we're still within the growth zone. We're still within the point from, previous all-time high to potential bear market low, right? previous all-time high at 20,000 and a potential bear market low at about 50,000 US dollars. So this means that anything below $50,000 is actually a good buy opportunity. And if Bitcoin does start to break above $50,000, I think it's still a good buy opportunity because you can make hundreds of percent gains on the way up here, up to 250,000, if that does end up being the price target. But you should probably consider taking profits if you're buying above 50,000 because we may come back to revisit that price once again in the year 2022 or going into the year 2022. This is the type of market structure that I'm looking for Bitcoin on the macro scale. So remember, Bitcoin is still within the growth zone, this green box territory. Anything below $50,000 is likely a good long-term buy. So remember, the long term is what really matters. What happens here in the short term, we're looking at the weekly chart right now. And what happens in the short term will probably not affect your life at all. In looking at Bitcoin here, if I go into the 4-hour chart, just to show you, yeah, we are seeing Bitcoin, finding some sellers. This line here is the previous all-time high at 19,800. And yes, we are seeing some selling, right? We saw Bitcoin dump this morning. And a lot of people, they zoom in on these lower time frames and they get so scared of these little tiny movements. And unless you're day trading or swing trading, you really shouldn't care. Now, just to satisfy the audience, I'm going to talk about the short term here. And what I'm going to say is, first of all, we're above this upward sloping trend line here in the 4-hour chart. So we're still trending up. If we start confirming 4-hour candles below this trend line, then I would expect prices a little bit lower, maybe around 25,000. Looking at this previous support and this previous resistance, the 25K level is a pretty damn good entry for Bitcoin right now. So anything around that level would be a great buy zone before the next major leg up. Now, am I saying that we're going to dump to 25K and that you should sell now and buy back lower? Absolutely not. Selling Bitcoin here and then trying to buy back a little bit lower just to make a little bit extra gains, in my opinion, is not worth the risk. Because if Bitcoin doesn't dump, if Bitcoin just continues to bounce up and you sold thinking the price was going to go lower, well, guess what? Now you're going to have to FOMO in at higher prices. And this is how inexperienced traders really start to screw up, because then they're going to buy back higher and the price will then dip lower, and then you're gonna panic sell again after it dips, and it's just going to be a total mess. In my opinion, you should focus on the long term. You shouldn't care about what happens today or tomorrow, unless of course you're day trading or swing trading. Most of you guys probably shouldn't be day trading or swing trading. And I do expect Bitcoin to see much more gains throughout the next year, potentially hitting a price target of $250,000. Now, looking at Ethereum, Ethereum has been extremely impressive recently. We've seen insane gains for Ethereum. Ethereum's last weekly candle went up, roughly 45% to the upside. We had a 45% gain within one weekly candle last week. And the best part is Ethereum pretty much just broke straight through this historic resistance zone, which was really my biggest worry for Ethereum, was getting above this. And Ethereum had so much momentum and so much buy interest that we kind of just crushed it. We just blew straight through it and we hit prices, over $1,100. And that is so awesome to see. The crypto market is absolutely booming right now. And overall for Ethereum, I'm extremely bullish. I actually think that if Bitcoin hits 250,000, Ethereum has a shot at hitting $10,000 or more. That is the calculation that I've made. And again, the short term really should not matter all too much. We are seeing a lot of chop now here in this range for Ethereum. This is the weekly chart, right? A huge wick to the upside, some buyers stepping in on the downside, and now we're just sitting just around $1,000. Now, whatever happens in the short term probably shouldn't be too much of a concern. I think that Ethereum, even if we pulled back to $800 again, as long as we hold that as support, we're probably going to be seeing much, much higher prices going into this year. Considering the amount of progress we've made for Ethereum here, at this point in time, anything below 750 to 830, or roughly the $800 range, is a pretty good area of entry for Ethereum right now. If we do pull back to 800, I would say that is a great area of entry for Ethereum, and very likely Ethereum is going to be following Bitcoin on its mega bullish trend going into the next year. So to answer your question, is it a good time to get into crypto right now? Well, from a long-term perspective, yes, buying Bitcoin anywhere below 50,000 long-term within the next year will very likely make you a ton of gains. And buying Ethereum anywhere around $800 right now is a fantastic area of entry, because very likely we're going to be seeing Ethereum in the multi-$1,000 range in the not so distant future. A lot of people are probably wondering, why is crypto so bullish right now? What is going on? Why should I believe that crypto is just going to keep going up? Well, guys, the US dollar is losing a lot of value against all the other global currencies. And this chart is the daily chart looking from March, the global pandemic, when people needed cash to survive the pandemic. And we're looking at the chart since then, and we are in a falling wedge. Now, yes, this falling wedge could at some point break out to the upside. Usually falling wedges break out to the upside. And this would mean that Bitcoin would probably end up having some sort of short-term pullback. And again, like I said, in the short term, if Bitcoin does pull back to, the 25K range, that's a pretty good area of entry overall. So if the US dollar index does break out to the upside, Bitcoin would have a short-term correction. We can see there is a clear inverse correlation. As the US dollar index is plummeting, Bitcoin is mooning, right? Because Bitcoin was created as a hedge against the devaluation of fiat currency. And this is why Bitcoin is doing so well. This is why crypto is doing so well. Interest rates are at such a low level right now that people can't make money by holding US dollars, so they need to buy stocks. S&P is at a new all-time high. They need to buy crypto. Bitcoin's at a new all-time high. So no one wants to hold US dollars. That's why Bitcoin is doing so well. The amount of capital that's available in the economy, this is the chart that shows it, the M1 money stock, is hitting record highs. 30% of all US dollars were created in the year 2020, and the M1 money stock has never been more vertical. So there's a lot of money floating around, and this is devaluing the US dollar, and this is what's allowing Bitcoin's price to gain rapidly against the failing fiat currency system. And guys, it really is the perfect storm for Bitcoin right now. We just had the halving, and the demand for Bitcoin has never been higher. So again, anywhere below 50,000 is probably a good area of entry for the long term. And just expect some wild volatility, guys. Expect some insane volatility. If Bitcoin does start to enter the 6-digit range, many people are going to be taking profits. A lot of the big players in this market will likely be taking profits, and I suggest you probably should consider it as well. As much as we want Bitcoin to just go to $1 million and beyond, very likely we're going to continue to follow this model to some degree. But that comes later on in the next year. Right now, it's all about getting your entries in the market and riding this trend to the upside. That's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoy my content, you can get more content by joining Patreon. This is a limited time offer. This offer will not always be available. The prices will be going up. You get extra content if you join Patreon. You get access to my Patreon crypto portfolio, which is a real portfolio that my patrons are able to track in real time. You guys can get some insights into what I'm doing in the market, what moves I'm making in the market. You guys get updated first here on Patreon. And also you get to join my exclusive Discord VIP chat. And if you become a patron, you also get direct access to me. You can ask me questions whenever you'd like. And remember, this is a limited time offer. Prices will be going up in a month or so definitely consider joining today. All the links are below. Click those links below, and I'll see you all in the next video.